Cooler wasn't particularly impressed with the planet, but he could see how it could be a good sell to a potential client. But he was well aware that, for the time being, this would be his domain. To re-establish the Empire, much work had to be done. But he detested having so many responsibilities now. He was initially enraged, in fact, that his father had chosen Freeza over him for the top job, but in time, he had grown accustomed to this. It actually gave him an unusual sense of freedom and comfort. He realized he wouldn't have to deal with the official side of things, not being the chosen successor. But still, now that he actually had it, to then go and throw it all away? It would be a waste though. The Saiyan had to die, because they dared to attack his bloodline. He was required to respond with a message, and he knew what he was going to do. It was going to be long and hard. Stop it! His brother referred to the Saiyan in question as Son Goku. He had a name, at the very least. As Cooler looked down at the planet from orbit, he turned his head towards Salza. Alright, get your DNA scanners ready in those scouters, you three. Please keep me updated on any Saiyan activity in the area and on the planet. You want us to do it manually, my lord? Have you seen the size of this planet? Does this present a problem? In a matter of hours, we've conquered more powerful worlds than this. Why are you mewling now? Go and look for that Saiyan! He realized he'd actually become quite overly emotional at the end of that sentence, but the squadron actually were energized by that. The only thing now he could do was wait and find out from their reports. Cooler pondered whether this was his chance to maybe put his new form to the test. After all, if this one was able to defeat both his father and brother, it might be required. Cooler then went on to meditate for several hours, trying to figure out and piece together what he would do when he landed on the planet. He didn't have to consider how his father and brother felt and how they would react because they already knew about the Super Saiyan. So it was just him and his thoughts. They went into this so badly. They arrived with a large vessel full of soldiers and were slaughtered along with the rest of the entourage. What a boneheaded move. This completely enraged Cooler. In terms of his battle experience, this was absolutely idiotic. Cooler, he never experienced fear throughout all of this, but he knew he had to respect their strength, these Saiyans. My lord, we have discovered a Saiyan child, or some sort of hybrid of said child. The scouter readings are uncertain, but according to it, his power levels appear to be 50. Okay, good. I'm on my way. Do not do anything until I report there. Cooler flew towards the coordinates sent by the armed squadron, after leaving the ship with 2 grunts, who assisted them during the mission. During this insane flight, he heard sounds of combat. He had to get there faster if someone could possibly survive the squadron after a mere few seconds. These people could be interesting if they could do that. What he saw when he got there compelled him to immediately take an aggressive stance. He noticed an adult Saiyan and his weathered men standing in a shallow riverbed. They had been beaten up a little bit, and when he decided to descend slowly behind this guy, the armored squadron were taken aback, and also maybe they were probably expecting him to punish them, but no. Monsieur Cooler, Salza then spoke up. The Saiyan then shifted his gaze backward to face him, right behind him. There was both fear and recognition on his face. Freeza? He exclaimed, horrified. It had to be him. It had to. But he looked different, though. Was this another transformation? Yeah, this guy wasn't bright, Cooler thought. Then, they both heard a loud voice yelling at this Son Goku character. Dad! Dad? Had he had a child? All Saiyans must be eliminated, sounding like a killing machine. Surprisingly, Son Goku not only managed to move his son out of the way of the beam in the blink of an eye, but when it actually did make contact with him, it only left him with moderate burns. But okay, fine, the bait was effective nonetheless. The Saiyan then sent a ki blast back toward Cooler in protest, as he then spiraled down as a result of the hit. Though he tried to make it look easy, it did take Cooler a moment to block it. He actually had to think. And despite firing a direct shot, this Saiyan was able to, well, actually do something. The Saiyans dove into the river and let the current take them away from the action to the nearest waterfall. Ooh, the hunt was on, they were fleeing. Cooler decided to take action, and as he dashed forward, attempting to follow the Saiyan's trail of exit, not to mention the smoke, he decided to dry a section of the riverbed in his own special way to thwart their escape, but by the time he did that, they were nowhere to be found. Monsieur Cooler! Well done! As one would expect from you. Yeah, excellent work, boss! That means the entire galaxy Saiyans are gone! Saiyan cheer. Idiots! Exclaimed Cooler. That stopped them. He's managed to respond to my direct beam with an attack of his own. That is abnormal, with considerable power as well. This man is still alive, and it's up to you lot to find him. His men then began searching, without question, the forest, blowing up huge swathes and sections of it as they went, to make things appear easier and more dramatic, try and scare them out of submission. It was admittedly an inelegant solution, but they were pressed for time. They then appeared back to their boss after a while, no longer interested in continuing the search. To survive all of this, he'd have to be some kind of freak, boss. We may have gone a little too far. Nyes then had to admit, yes, it'd be a pain to find the body in all of this rubble. They assumed that Cooler would have been understanding about this, but nope. No. He's still here. Cooler casting a cold glance at them from the sky. Make every effort to get him in front of me. I mean, I could blow up the planet myself right now, but... He looked around himself. That is not to be the case. This is not a pitiful way for me to avenge my brother. I want to punish this Saiyan who smeared his dirt all over our legacy. They decided not to argue because they'd never seen Cooler this adamant before. Find him. Am I clear? No more complaints. And while his men were out looking for his opponent, Cooler decided to return to the ship, trying to contact his now underlings from the Empire. Commander Sorbet, out on the front, was attempting to maintain control back at base, but it appeared to be that more and more planets were beginning to rebel. But maybe after bringing the Saiyan's corpse to Cold Planet 1 for everyone to see, every single rebel would be sorry. That would be what would happen to them. He came to a complete stop for a brief moment. He'd always told himself that he would face a challenge like this one someday, that it would be unavoidable. And it was going to be on this particular day. His brother and father couldn't see it, but he could. We found the child, Lord Cooler! He's riding some strange reptilian beast! He was well aware that this could happen also. If the child was still alive, his father would be alive as well. All right, capture him. We'll use him as bait. They could maybe take the child on their own, they thought, despite the fact that his father was nearby. As he finished taking the report from Sorbet, Cooler received word also that Dory's scouter had stopped transmitting. Nyes' stopped responding not long after. Oh, this wasn't good. He had no choice but to get out there himself. His men were clearly being annihilated by that Saiyan. He should have gotten out there immediately. He was losing his important men. This was actually a major loss for him, and a tactical error on his part. He was then surprised to see not a Saiyan, but a Namekian warrior dealing with the second in command when he then was able to trace Sal's signal. It was impressive and remarkable. And it also was kind of logical. The people of Namek, of course, had sided with the Saiyans after what had happened with Freeza. That would have explained why he was able to easily eliminate his family. He had help from these green slug people. Oh, he couldn't stand it any longer. He fired a death beam straight through the Namekian's chest. He knew they were tough, and if the monkey genuinely cared about his green ally, he'd come out of hiding. And after noticing the child vanish out of the corner of his eye, Cooler directed Salza to pursue him. If he was going somewhere, he would lead him to his father. He betted it. Cooler, on the other hand, chose to keep the Namekian around as negotiation fodder. And after losing Dore and Nyes, Salza's survival had to be assured, as the child witnessed his ally being shot. However, after only a few moments, Cooler stopped receiving signals from Salza's scouter. How strong was this child? Unfortunately, Salza also let him down. He discovered, though, his Sprentian second-in-command was still alive, but his scouter was on the fritz, as he went to investigate what had happened. Okay, that was a huge relief, he thought. The Saiyan, though, seemed in good health, so it was sort of a détente. Does this belong to you, Saiyan? Cooler smirked, waving the unconscious Namekian's body in front of them. Put him down now! He growled in Cooler's direction. Okay. Catch! He threw him toward Goku, but before the body hit the ground, he blasted it in the back with a ki attack, further infuriating his opponent. Good. He meant for him to suffer. Oh, you're so concerned about your allies. Interesting. Seems rather odd coming from a Saiyan who was born to fight and not care for others. I was born a Saiyan, but on Earth. The man's incredible power then sent Sauza flying. I see. You were the one who did it after all. Cooler smiled as Son Goku charged toward him and punched him. Pain. It had been a long time since Cooler had felt that. They then started their deadly fist, tails, and ki dance. He kept going whilst dragging his opponent underwater to boot, countering his attacks. It was both frightening and exciting. Fighting an equal was something that Cooler had never done before. He could understand why Freeza would have gotten into this. Cooler had almost lost himself in this experience, in fact, but once they got out of the water, both fighters then decided to keep their distance. My. This is quite impressive. It's no surprise you embarrassed my brother not once, but twice. Son Goku gave him a strange look. Only once. The second time wasn't me. Cooler's eyes widened, but he remained composed. Okay, so who was it then? A Super Saiyan from the future. Cooler then scowled at that glib remark. Are you making some kind of feeble attempt at a joke right now? Are you trying to trick me with your falsities? The Saiyan shook his head. No. Also, your brother kinda did it to himself. I gave him the chance to leave and become a better person. And I'll give you the same courtesy. Was this really the Super Saiyan? What was he going on about? Do you have any idea who you're talking to? At the moment, Frieza's brother. Your name's Cooler, right? Are you attempting to offend me? Cooler getting angry about a second. If this continues, I'll have no choice but to use all of my power. Cooler was aware of his heartbeat after him saying that. Oh, that was it. This was the final straw. This is exactly what he was going to get, a fight of epic proportions. All right, fine, because I'm not done yet myself. Huh? I have another transformation as well that my brother lacked, and you should be pleased with yourself, Son Goku. You'll be the first to put my abilities to the test. He allowed his body to grow, change, forming spikes on his bioarmor. And as a finishing touch, he had designed his own mask to really bring up the intimidation factor. As he prepared to decimate his opponent, he began to dominate the fight. The power on display was simply incomprehensible, but then he was struck by a golden radiant light after a brief moment. The hair of the Saiyan began to turn gold. Cooler could feel the power. He tried to punch the Saiyan, but he was far too powerful. He blocked it, retaliating with his own punch, which hit Cooler square in the gut. There was that pain again, this time ferocious. The Saiyan then simply grabbed his arm as if it were nothing as he tried to attempt to blast him out of the sky. Cooler, go home. Leave other worlds from now on. You little, said the newly appointed Emperor as he launched an offensive to gain some ground. Okay, that's all there was to it. He was going to blow up the planet. He didn't care anymore. He had to live. He had to get rid of the Saiyan. That was the only thing that was important right now. In contrast, the Saiyan charged his own attack, which connected with the death ball. Cooler, be careful, Sauza yelled. The ball of energy was indeed being pushed back. Cooler tried his best to get out of the way of the incoming combined blast, but his own attack, in combination with the Saiyan's beam, that was not good. It ended up smearing the left half of his body, severely burning him and destroying his hand and leg. He fell and reverted to his previous form. Cooler tried to get up, but he was too frail. He would live, but the wounds left were horrific. He felt himself drowning. He blacked out. Goku picked up Cooler's body and threw it at Sauza. You! Take your boss with you! I won't be able to forgive you if you cause trouble again. Sauza was so terrified of this man that he gathered up his undefeated leader's charred remains and left. He was still alive, but completely burnt. Piccolo was furious after handing out sensor beams to everyone, but he didn't want to yell at the Saiyan in front of Gohan. No, it wasn't worth it. He was aware also, Piccolo, that Krillin felt the same way, so they decided to remove Goku from the camp and talk some sense into him, away from Gohan's ears. You let him go again. I can't believe it, Goku. Don't you see? It was Frieza's younger brother! Brother! Frieza! Why? Goku calmly accepted it and turned to face Piccolo. Oh, I knew who he was. And if I'm not mistaken, you were once the son of King Piccolo. Piccolo felt the heat for a fraction of a second.
But that's not the same thing, Goku! Those people have the ability to destroy entire planets! He sought vengeance for his brother and father, and he will return with an army!
No, if he comes back, he'll come on his own. I fought him, so I understand him. That guy's a warrior just like me and you.
He's an evil warrior, Goku.
Maybe, but he will want a rematch. I know it.
And what if you don't beat him again? What then?
Well, I'm hoping he'll come back when those androids Trunks mentioned show up. Goku crossing his arms as he said this.
Oh, great, as if we didn't need enough trouble already.
They must be pretty tough if they can handle Super Saiyans, but this guy's a force to be reckoned with. And if he wants a rematch with me, the androids may interfere.
Piccolo couldn't come up with anything to say with this bizarre idea. Do you really want that?
Piccolo, I've just got a feeling about him. Trust me, I doubt he'll be our friend. But take a look at Vegeta. We couldn't have made it through Namek without him, for better or worse.
The Namekian sighed deeply. Oh, this is so embarrassing. You're a serious gambler, Goku. Alright, I'll take this to Kami, but I hope you're right for all of our sakes.
As such, Piccolo flew away. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now, as we end Act 1.